Joe's like, huh?
Here for one reason.
You're right. All right, now, beautiful day today. Well, I'll tell you what, the weather this week has been nice. It's been fun to practice and cool and warm at the same time, actually, today. And kids enjoyed it, too. Bounce around a little quicker and practice good tempo. Had a really good tempo today, liked the energy. And, you know, like I say, got to carry on. Been a good week of practice, I say that, but it really has been a little better week this week. I like the tempo and the energy in it. So hopefully we'll carry it on and play well on Saturday. Questions?
Jimbo, Jacob, you had some comments earlier this week. You think, is that just frustration about losing, or do you think that's honestly how he feels?
Well, I mean, he may feel that way. But like I said, he's a senior.
Yeah.
I mean, that, you know, things he has. So, I mean, I actually asked him, I said, what comments do you have? He said, Coach, none. So I don't have any. He said, we just got to play harder. We got to play better. We got to do better leadership. So, I mean, guys are frustrated. They get frustrated. There ain't no doubt. That's part of it. That's part of not having success. But you got to learn to deal with it. When you have failure, part of coming out is learning to deal with it and process it and know why you're having it and then move on with it. And, you know, he's had a good week of practice, so hopefully he'll play well.
Do you think that's, in a sense, a form of leadership, him coming out and saying that?
Can be, depending on how you act on it. Saying things don't mean anything. Your action speaks so loud, I can't hear what you're saying. If your actions follow your words, then it's awesome. If there's no follow-up to words, then it doesn't mean anything. And I love Jacob. He's playing great. I mean, nothing about that. I appreciate guys. Give their opinion. What we ask all the time. I ask our players all the time, is there anything we can do to help you? Like I told you with Dalvin, can we help you better? Can we do this better? Can we do that better? And then sometimes you got to just go play. You got to line up and take responsibility and go play.
Besides Jacob, how has the senior leadership been? Because this group came in.
There's not a lot of them. I mean, when you really think about it. Derek Notty's been awesome. Derek Notty's done a good job. But Derek was good. He got banged up. Matthew's a quiet guy. Does it by example. He's not a loud guy that way. Jacob's usually a quiet guy. Jacob's doesn't say much. I'm trying to think. Nate does a good job vocally. I'm trying to think who else you'd have over there. Erman's on our side. Now, there isn't any on offense except Ricky Leonard. And Ricky's a quiet guy. Some of your younger guys on the offense do that. Who am I missing on defense? Trey Marshall. Trey's a quiet. Trey's more of an example guy. He'll say stuff occasionally, but he's a quiet guy who works his tail off and plays hard and physical, you know, by example. Because there's a lot of ways to lead. You can lead quietly. You can lead by leadership, by vocal. You can by example. You know, whatever it is. So.
Well, and obviously you got to handle it the right way, but I mean, you want guys to not be okay when things aren't going well.
I don't want, exactly. I want them to be selfish. I want them to play for the draft. I want them to play. Playing for the draft means you're playing your guts out. Going out and saying you're saving now that statement makes no sense. Say you save yourself. You're not saving yourself. Then you're saving yourself not to be drafted. You don't get it that way. You play for the draft. I want them to play for the draft. That means you're putting great things on film and our team's doing well. That means you're playing well. And that's what you have to think of. I want guys to be selfish. That's what you should play, because that's the I and win. Your individual responsibility to be selfish and dominant at your position and win your battle so your team can be good. That's what you ask for every day.
I mean, when you got a lot of guys who lead by example, do you need a couple
sometimes
alpha males and ego guys to kind of balance it out, and vocal guys? Or
it doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't hurt. There's no doubt. And each team takes its own personality and be different. I mean, that depends on each team. I've had it where that's been good, and I've had it where that can be an issue.
Jimbo, on your show last night, you mentioned that Keith was able to practice. How did he come
Actually
back
looked good. I mean, moved around, and we'll have to see how in practice some more today. So how his body responds from being out. But there's a guy who's trying to go get in the foxhole with you. I mean, that's a guy that's banged up. I never expected him back for 2 more weeks. I mean, he kept saying, "Coach, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back," and he was working and. You know, and Jake says, they all, people say that, like you say, there's words. But then are there actions? And they may want to. But he went out there and he said, Jimbo, I'm going to give him I said, you're kidding me. I mean, that was after, so he went out there and practiced and did it again. But that's what I love about Keith, and I've always said this. Keith's the guy who goes to crawl in the foxhole with you. He doesn't crawl out of the foxhole with you. And that's the kind of guys you're looking for. So hopefully he'll be able to play and help us this weekend.
Jacques West probably still another week or something?
Probably another week, but I think he's trying to crawl back in there too. I mean, he's right on the edge, and it would just be a little bit too early, when they said. So I think we're hoping that he'll have a chance to be back in this thing by next week.
Encouraging, obviously, to have both those guys at some
point. Yeah, because do you want to send a message? I mean, if if you're hurt or banged up and you think you're not wanting to go play for a bad, them guys are trying to crawl back in and get healthy as quick as they can. So that sends as good a message about your team and what your guys are doing as you possibly can. There was a guy on offense. Jacques was a very good leader for us. Jacques has even been vocal, which he hasn't been in the past. Now that he feels comfortable, has been a vocal leader. So there's guys right there trying to crawl back in, and young guys. I think I've always said are going to be really good players. You heard me praise those guys since camp.
Is that the kind of message that Auden Tate's been sending all season?
Yes, had been. Playing injured, playing banged up, bruised up. I mean, not practicing. And like I say, he's questionable for this game. We don't know if he's going to be able to play. I mean, we don't know. I mean, he's banged up, but he's going to be out there banging. So you got a lot of guys who are sending the right messages.
Just as far as.
Let me give you the rest of it.
Sure.
Keith Gavin, we put questionable because we don't know. We have to see how it responds. Kane Doe, questionable, ankle. Jaquez, out. Auden Tate, questionable. And Darvin and A.J. Westbrook are out.
How's McFadden's week of practice been?
Okay. Okay, competed well. Made a couple good plays in 2 minutes today. Today.
Jimbo, when you look back at the BC game, it seemed like you guys are going in to tie it up and you fumble, then they flip field position, and then it just seems like.
Took the air out of it. And then you had an opportunity. The other one you had an opportunity was 14-0. You hit the big play to Nooney. Then had a go route, then we had an open slant, and we just made a poor read. And had it open for a 10 or 12-yard gain to get points. And it does. Man, I mean, it's like every time you push up, when you've had failure, you press, and all of a sudden, it deflates you. But that's part of dealing with it. And that's one of the things, that's what I said in this game. The other games, even when we got down 14 to Louisville in the fourth quarter, we battled right back and then had a chance to win the game. And that one, you saw them it wasn't quit. It was like almost disbelief. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't believe that's happening to me again. Shock, if that makes any sense. Like, I thought we would push out of that. But you got to keep going. And BC was playing aggressive and smart. And that changes your whole attitude.
So you felt going into the game that they were into it, but
no
just
doubt we moved. I mean, they hit a trick play. We hit one. I mean, we moved right down. And on the first down pass, we got a guy wide open for a touchdown. We just made a misread. We take a sack, got to throw it out, and we have a base fumble. But then we bounce back. Even though it's 14-0, we still hit the play to come back. To come back. And at halftime we come out. We misexecuted. And then when defense got a nice stop, then we fumbled a punt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like, God dang, how many times can we shoot ourselves in the foot and do that? You know what I'm saying? It's not quit. It's more like you're frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Can that happen again? That shouldn't be happening. We're trying hard. You know what I'm saying? And then the looks on your face, it's like, it's not that. It's like you can't believe what you're reading. And so you got to fight through it. It doesn't matter. You got to keep playing.
Did you feel like maybe the first fumble against Boston College was just eerily similar to the Louisville one, and that's why the players kind of just.
No, I don't think, because they come back after that. We still come back in the drive after that. You know what I'm saying? And, like I said, the disappointing thing there, too, is if you still get a stop, you get the ball back at midfield, and they got 3 or 4 first downs. The next time you got the ball back, you're at the 2. We field a punt at the 7 and run to the 2, and, that thing's it. No, I don't think it was that, because we battled right back and hit Nooney, come back at midfield, and just made a poor decision on the next play. Had a slant wide open, trying to be aggressive because they were bunching the box. They played to run. They were squeezing things in tight. And even though you block them, it creates wads of people. But they were giving you lanes to throw the football. And we made 2 mistakes.
2 straight weeks, turnovers within the 25 or the red zone. How deflating, not only
Big
for
deflating.
an offense, but defense, too.
Well, deflating, and it's just as deflating when you give up third downs on defense. You got them 3rd and 10, and you're getting ready to walk back on. That's what I'm saying. You got to learn to play to each other. Offense gets up 3rd and 10. We got them backed up. We're going to get the ball back. All right, there's a first down. I'm not saying, and then defense, you get a drive. You're going down to score, and we're ready to tie it up. You score, it's just, God dang, what can we do? What else can you do? And you guys got to keep plugging and play fundamentals. And the good thing about it, for the 2 weeks before that, our red zones and third downs were doing excellent. We had 3 for 3 at touchdowns at last week, and then Louisville game, that was actually outside the red zone. We had to fumble. But we had 3 for 3 in that game, and we're executing in the red zone. We're doing a great job. It is. There's no doubt it's disappointing. But it don't matter. That doesn't mean you got to give up a drive to go back. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I keep telling guys. No matter what your circumstances are, listen, child gets sick, gets a disease, have a car wreck, somebody in your family gets sick, you get sick. Life ain't fair. When you learn to do that, now what can I control? My job. I line up and play. And kids today now, dealing with adversity is one of the biggest things we have to deal with young kids today. Because like I said before, everybody gets a trophy. Little Johnny, everybody gets a trophy when you're little. Everybody plays well. And I know we joke about that. And I think it's great, but at the same time, it doesn't teach the right things. When you get here and everything's hunky-dory and you got in recruiting, I've been great. You're going to be a superstar in 3. No, I got to go work. Instead of telling these kids that they got 3 and out, think you better go work because you're going into a great program at every school and you got to learn to earn your way up. And everything has been hunky-dory and the world's been utopia. And all of a sudden, it ain't utopia. You know what I'm saying? And how they deal with it. Most of these kids have never dealt with adversity like that. And it's a part of having to do it. And we have to teach it, and they got to push through it, and we're going to be right there with them and do it. And they got to learn it.
Syracuse, everybody talks about Dungy, but the 2 receivers.
Oh, Phillips and Ishmael have been great players. I mean, you don't have I mean, I ain't ever seen a great quarterback without great receivers, and I ain't ever seen great receivers without a great quarterback. I mean, it takes both. You know what I mean? And they do a great job, and their tight end that makes plays. They're running the football better. And I keep saying this. Everybody talks about, well, they're no huddle and go 98 plays. Their defense gives up 23% conversion rate on third down. You know what that means? They get the ball back for them a bunch. So when you're getting off the field on defense and getting more possession, you're getting, instead of, you know, you get average about 15 possessions a game instead of 11 or 12. That's a huge deal. You get 5 or 6 plays in a series, that can be 20, 25 extra plays a game, instead of your defense being on the field. So there's two parts to them that everybody's talking about the offense and the numbers. Go look at the defensive numbers and what they're doing and their conversion rates on third down, which means they're getting the ball back for those guys at a great rate. So, I mean, they're doing a great job. But those two receivers are the real deal. The quarterback's a real deal, and they're good players.
Well, how important is it for you guys to get this win at home?
It's very important. I mean, but it's like every game's important. It's no more important than any game. Every game to us, all we can control is one game. Like I said, what can we control? 1 week at a time. So every week to us is the most important thing in the world. It's not I don't look at big picture. I look at this week, us getting better, play successful, and hopefully have success in the game. Then we'll go the next week. Then we live in, I don't mean this in a weird way, I don't live in that world. I live in a compartmentalized world at each week of what we do and how we do it. And that's the way I've always lived.
I know we've asked you a bunch about their tempo, but big pictures, what are your thoughts on just the high-speed offenses and the impact they've had on college football in general the last few years?
Good and bad. I mean, sometimes they do good, sometimes they do bad. I mean, just depends on what your team can do and where you're at. Like I said today, people say, why don't you do it? Well, we've got 3 receivers. So if you got 80-some plays of offense, how would they play? I mean, you've been banged up with receivers. The guys can't even practice. I mean, like I say, Tate very rarely practices. Those guys practice. You go and practice, and your quarterback needs all them looks, and you put it all on your young quarterback. But at the same time, I've had 4 or 5 different years in my career that we've done nothing but no huddle and went 100 miles an hour. Just depends on the type of team you have, what kind of defense you have, how do you play the strength of each one, and what goes on back and forth. I remember when Charlie Ward and them did it fast as they could go. Then, if you remember, they did it for a few years, but then went back, slowed it back down, because it's whatever. But defenses get used to that. Then you go back. I always thought that going real fast, get in the huddle, couple plays, go back slow, go back, then all of a sudden go real fast. Some of the most successful times we ever had, we used to do it like that. We'd go 6, 8, 10 plays as fast as we could go. All of a sudden, just stop and get in the huddle for 3 plays. Then get a tempo, and all of a sudden break back out and go 5 more plays, 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? And change tempo. So it's whatever, you want to control the tempo of the game. It's not about plays. It's about, the whole idea on offense is to control the tempo of the game.
Is your plan to stick with McFadden at punt return, or are you going to make a change? Or?
No, we'll see. And personally, I'm not going to talk about publicly. We'll see when the game comes.